In this video, we'll give you the 13 of the latest carry-on rules from the TSA. The updates are hot and will certainly affect you if you're planning to travel in August. And number 7 is catching travelers off guard as they seem clueless. So make sure to watch the full video till the end. 1. Eliminating extra fees for carry-ons. Years, carry-on baggage has been a point of tension between airlines and passengers. What used to be included in the ticket price became a lucrative revenue stream for carriers. In many parts of the world, you can no longer assume that a small roller bag or backpack for the overhead bin comes at no extra cost. When packing carry-on luggage, it's crucial to follow TSA and airline-specific size and weight rules. Not all airlines allow full-size carry-ons for free, and exceeding limits can mean hefty fees and hassle at the gate. Typically, passengers get one carry-on and one personal item like a backpack, purse, or laptop bag. Major airlines like Alaska, American, and Delta allow carry-ons up to 22 by 14 by 9 inches with no weight limit, while Frontier restricts carry-ons to 24 by 16 by 10 inches and under 35 pounds. Checked bags usually max out at 62 linear inches and 40 pounds. Carry-on fees can range from $30 to $100 depending on ticket type, route, and purchase timing. Always check your airline's rules to avoid surprises and ensure a smoother airport experience. However, the carry-on thing isn't universal yet. On many routes, you'll still find that carry-ons are billed separately, and in some regions, regulators show no signs of stepping in. The real challenge for travelers is that the shift is uneven. One airline may include carry-ons on a domestic leg, only for the international connection to charge for the same bag. Why this matters? If you've grown accustomed to paying, the sudden reversal could work in your favor, but only if you're paying attention. You'll need to check fare breakdowns before booking, especially if you're mixing airlines. The day these changes become the global standard will be the day overhead. Bins finally feel like part of the ticket again. Second, slightly larger, standard cabin bag allowances. Hidden among the headline rule changes of 2025 is one that feels almost too small to matter, until you pack for your next trip. In certain regions, airlines have quietly increased the allowed dimensions for free cabin bags. The difference might only be a few centimeters or an inch or two, but that's often the space between cramming a winter coat into your case and letting it slide in without a struggle. These changes are often tied to boarding efficiency. Smaller bags tend to lead to passenger disputes with gate staff, arguments about whether a bulging zipper still counts, or whether a handle sticks out too far. By allowing slightly larger dimensions, airlines hope passengers will stop trying to push limits with borderline-sized luggage. That means fewer last-minute gate checks and smoother boarding overall. In markets where these larger allowances are now in effect, travelers are reporting less anxiety at boarding. Families can pack an extra set of clothes without worrying about zipper strain. Business travelers can fit both a suit and casual wear without folding things into oblivion. The change is subtle but noticeable, especially for frequent flyers who have spent years playing luggage Tetris just to meet the rules. But here's the catch. These expanded dimensions are far from universal. A bag that's fine in Canada or parts of the EU could get flagged as oversized in the US or Asia. Even within a single trip, you might fly a leg with a generous airline and connect to one that demands smaller limits. That inconsistency can lead to costly surprises. The extra space can be a real benefit if you know you're flying with carriers that have adopted the new sizing. It's a small step toward less stressful travel, but only if you're vigilant. Measure your bag before every trip. Double-check the allowance for every airline on your itinerary, and remember, one region's slightly larger could be another's oversized and $50 at the gate. 3. More stringent ID checks for domestic flights. While we often think of carry-on rules as purely about size and weight, there's a related change that could indirectly impact your experience: stricter identity verification before boarding. Some countries are now enforcing updated national ID requirements for air travel, even on short domestic hops. In practice, this means you could get stopped at security or the boarding gate if your ID doesn't meet new standards. And if you're delayed resolving the issue, you may end up having your carry-on checked into the hold. Why this matters? It's not just about having a valid ID, it's about having the right kind of valid ID. Travelers who don't keep up with these changes might assume their usual card or license is fine, only to get a nasty surprise at the airport. That can cascade into delays, missed flights, or unexpected baggage fees. Fourth, experiments with relaxing the liquids rule. For over a decade, air travelers have been bound by the tiny bottles in a clear bag rule. Now, in a handful of airports, that norm is being challenged. New liquid scanning technology, capable of analyzing a bottle without opening it, is being tested in controlled trials. The biggest shift? Some pilot programs are letting passengers bring full-size bottles of liquids and gels through security. Right now, this is more of a laboratory than a revolution. Only a small number of airports are running these tests, and most are limiting them to certain checkpoints or specific flights. But the results are promising. Less waste at security, faster screenings, and happier passengers. Why this matters? These trials hint at a future where the 3-1-1 rule could disappear entirely. If that happens, travelers could stop buying travel-sized toiletries or decanting expensive products into tiny bottles. But until the tests become official policy, consider this an experimental privilege, not a right. 5. Stricter weight limits on CarryOns. One of the sneakier updates catching people off guard has nothing to do with how big your bag is. It's about how heavy it is. More airlines are weighing carry-on bags at the gate or check-in, and the limits can be surprisingly low. This shift is driven by two factors: fuel efficiency and safety. Heavier bags are harder to lift into overhead bins and can pose a hazard if they fall. By cracking down on weight, carriers can reduce injury risk and trim fuel costs. Why this matters? You could have a perfectly sized bag that suddenly isn't allowed on board because it's over the weight limit. This is especially tricky for travelers carrying laptops, cameras, or other dense items. Investing in a small luggage scale could save you a big headache and a fee at the gate. 6. Tighter, more consistent enforcement at the gate. For years, there's been a quiet understanding among frequent travelers. If your bag was a little bigger than the stated limit, you might still make it on board without an issue. Maybe the gate agent was busy, maybe the flight wasn't full, maybe no one bothered to check. That wiggle room is now disappearing. Airlines are instructing gate staff to apply carry-on size rules strictly and consistently. No matter how small the violation, no matter how polite the passenger, agents are under pressure to measure bags and the sizes more often. And if your bag doesn't fit, you'll be told to check it. There's no more relying on luck or charm to get through. This shift is partly about fairness. Everyone plays by the same rules, and partly about efficiency. Oversized bags slow down boarding, jam the overhead bins, and cause delays while crew reshuffle luggage. Airlines want a smoother boarding process, and tighter enforcement is a direct way to get it. What this means for you: even if you've flown with the same carry-on dozens of times without an issue, this might be the trip where you're stopped. If your bag is borderline, have a backup plan. That means being ready to check it, having valuables or essentials in a smaller personal item, and being prepared mentally and financially for the possibility. 7th, steeper last-minute fees for oversized bags. This is where the new rules can really hurt your wallet. In many regions, the fee for checking an oversized carry-on at the gate has gone up, sometimes sharply. In the past, the penalty for being stopped at the gate was annoying but manageable, often just a bit higher than checking the bag at the counter. Now, it can be double or even triple the pre-check fee. The reason is simple: last-minute checks slow the boarding process, which delays departure. Airlines want to encourage passengers to follow the rules from the start, so they are using pricing as a deterrent. The message is clear: if you're not sure your bag will pass, don't risk it. Pre-checking your bag, even if it means paying a smaller fee ahead of time, can save you a much bigger expense later. If you decide to gamble and hope your bag gets through, you're taking a risk that's no longer just about convenience. It's about money. With tighter enforcement at the gate and higher last-minute fees, that gamble is getting more expensive than ever. 8. Every carry-on must go in a bin, no exceptions. For decades, travelers have had a little bit of freedom when placing carry-ons at the security checkpoint. Many would simply lift a roller bag, backpack, or tote onto the conveyor belt without using a bin, especially if the bag was large enough to fill the space. That option is quickly disappearing. Starting this July, most airports upgrading to modern security lanes will require every single item, including full-size carry-on bags, to be placed in a bin before it's scanned. The old bag directly on the belt approach won't fly anymore. The reason is technology. The Transportation Security Administration, TSA, is rolling out automated screening lanes in more U.S. airports. These systems feature bins that are about 25% larger than the older ones, big enough to hold a standard carry-on suitcase comfortably. Each bin comes embedded with an RFID chip. This chip links your bin to TSA's tracking system, so your belongings are monitored from the moment they enter the lane until they exit. If an item needs extra screening, the system can instantly alert staff without having to sort through a pile of untagged bags. But the technology only works if all items go in bins, hence the strict rule. That includes carry-on suitcases, regardless of size, backpacks, duffel bags, or tote bags, smaller carry items like camera bags or purses. It's not just the bag itself. Electronics, especially laptops and tablets, still need to be removed and placed in their own bin, uncovered. If you skip the bin, the system can't track your item, and your bag will almost certainly be flagged for a manual inspection. That means you'll wait longer, and so will everyone behind you. These modern lanes allow multiple passengers to unload at once, meaning lines can move faster when travelers cooperate. But there's no gray area here. If you're at security with it, it's going in a bin. 9. You scan your own ID and boarding pass. Another change you'll notice at more airports in 2025 is that TSA officers aren't taking your ID and boarding pass into their hands anymore. Instead, you will be the one scanning them at a self-service kiosk. The process is straightforward. Walk up to the TSA station, place your ID, physical or digital, on the scanner. Scan your boarding pass, proceed to the screening area. This change is already visible in airports like Los Angeles, LAX, Las Vegas, and Baltimore, and TSA has announced expansion to dozens of other airports before the year ends. It works a lot like self-checkout at the grocery store, quick, efficient, and less prone to human error when done correctly. But for it to be quick, you have to be ready. Have your ID and boarding pass in hand before you reach the kiosk. If using a mobile boarding pass, make sure it's open and bright enough to scan instantly. Your phone should be charged and free of screen cracks that might confuse the scanner. If you fumble for your documents or hold up the line, staff can redirect you to a slower, traditional checkpoint. While this isn't meant to punish travelers, it's a way to keep the self-service lanes moving. The goal here is clear: speed up the ID check, reduce unnecessary handling of personal documents, and free TSA officers to focus on bag screening and security monitoring. For prepared passengers, the process takes seconds. For unprepared ones, it can feel like a scramble in front of an impatient audience. 10. Digital ID is accepted, but you still need the physical one. The TSA has started embracing technology that many travelers already use in daily life: digital IDs. If you have a driver's license or ID saved in Apple Wallet or Google Wallet, some airports now let you simply tap your phone on the scanner instead of fishing out your card. It's convenient, secure, and often faster, especially if your physical ID is tucked away in your bag. However, this new option comes with a critical catch. You still have to carry your physical ID. TSA's policy is firm. Digital ID is a supplement, not a replacement. Here's why. Dead phone battery. If your battery dies in line, your ID disappears with it. Tech glitches, apps can crash, or the scanner might have trouble reading your screen. Random checks. TSA officers can request a physical ID at any time. International travel, customs and immigration still require the original passport, no exceptions. Think of digital ID as a speed booster, not a safety net. It's there for convenience, but the physical ID is the real ticket to getting through security and onto your plane. Keep your driver's license or passport somewhere accessible. A jacket pocket, a front pouch of your carry-on, or a dedicated travel wallet. Avoid burying it under layers of clothing or deep in your suitcase. That way, If the scanner fails or an officer asks to see it, you're ready in seconds instead of minutes. 11th, facial recognition. Will scan you. Facial recognition technology is now active in over 200 US airports, and in 2025, it's becoming the standard way to verify identity at TSA checkpoints. If you walk into the checkpoint and stand in the marked spot, the system will automatically take your photo and match it to your ID record. You do have the right to opt out, but you must say so before the scan happens. Once the camera captures your face, it's already done. Facial recognition is fast and accurate, but it can fail if you're wearing sunglasses, hats, or masks. You're holding your phone in front of your face. Lighting causes heavy shadows on your features. If the system can't confirm your identity, you'll be sent to manual screening, which takes longer. If you're okay with using facial recognition, prepare before you step up. Remove hats, sunglasses, and masks, and look directly at the camera. If you're not okay with it, tell the TSA officer immediately when you reach the front of the line. 12. Liquid rules still apply. If you've been hoping to stroll through airport security with that giant shampoo bottle, not so fast. Liquid rules are changing, but they're not gone yet. TSA is testing new analogic and CT scanners in select airports. These scanners create detailed 3D images of your bags, sometimes letting liquids stay inside during screening. Sounds like a win, right? Well, mostly. According to DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, TSA is working on updates that might allow larger liquids in the near future, according to a report by ABC News. That's a promising sign, but it's not here yet. For now, the familiar 311 rule still stands. Liquids, gels, and creams must be 3.4 ounces or less, all packed into 1 quart-sized clear bag. Some lucky passengers with CT scanner checkpoints already skip removing liquids, but size limits still apply. Exceptions: baby formula, toddler drinks, and medications, if declared. Until these scanners are everywhere, keep your liquids in an easy-to-grab, clear pouch. That way, whether the TSA waves you through or sends you to extra screening, you'll be ready. Bigger bottles might be coming, but not just yet. 13. Luggage tagging is now a security issue. In the past, luggage tags were mainly for lost and found purposes, but that's no longer the case. With TSA's rollout of RFID-enabled bins and AI-driven tracking systems, proper luggage tagging has become part of the official security process. These systems match the tag information on your carry-on with your boarding details in real time, and if there's a mismatch, or if your bag has no tag at all, it can trigger extra screening. That could mean a full manual bag search, additional ID verification, and the kind of delay that not only slows you down, but also holds up the people behind you. This is why tagging your luggage correctly is no longer optional. It's a requirement if you want to move through security without trouble. Every bag, including carry-ons and personal items, should have a visible tag with your full name, phone number, and email address, not just initials or a last name. Keep your boarding pass and ID accessible, especially in self-screening lanes, so TSA officers or automated systems can confirm the match quickly. For extra protection, place a backup tag inside your bag in case the external one gets damaged or falls off. This is particularly important during busy travel periods, when luggage is handled quickly and bins are moved through automated systems at high speed. Correct tagging may seem like a small detail, but with the TSA's new technology, it's directly tied to your ability to board smoothly and avoid last-minute security slowdowns. The message behind all these updates is clear. Carry-on travel is changing, and the margin for error is shrinking. Size, weight, liquids, fees, and even ID rules are in flux. What passed without a second glance last year could cost you time, money, or your bag this year. The key is to stop assuming you know the rules, and start checking them before every single trip. Look up the current limits for both your departure and arrival points. Pack with wiggle room, not right to the limit. And remember, in the fast-moving world of air travel, being prepared isn't just about what's in your bag. It's about knowing exactly what rules it needs to follow.